Good morning and welcome to Nature Watch. Nature Watch is sponsored by Waddell's Nursery Floral Garden and Bird Center at the corner of 12th Street and Millam Road. Excuse me. And now your host for Nature Watch. There. Yeah, it's wintertime. Can you tell?
I thought all those frogs were hibernating for the winter.
That's what I thought, too. Hey, it's Gary Miller. Good morning, Gary.
Good morning.
Hey, did you have a good Christmas, sir?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah, we didn't have any much white stuff. I mean, there's still a little bit of white stuff out there. You got to search for it because most of it's melted.
Yeah.
As Jim mentioned, it's very dark and cloudy and dreary out there.
No, you mentioned it.
He was mentioning what I had mentioned. And I know when I was coming in, at the top of the 8 o'clock hour news, he said there's no precipitation in southwest Michigan. Actually, The air temperature is hovering right around the dew point. So driving around, you are going to get some little water droplets on your windshield.
You might get missed.
Yes. Yeah.
Technically, it's not raining.
It's not raining. But
now, let's burst this bubble because I was looking at Storm
it's going to rain tomorrow.
I was looking at Storm Team 8's post on Facebook a few moments ago, looking into next week.
Yes.
6 to 12 inches of snow starting Sunday night, Monday morning.
Yes.
And then all week long, as we will have a lake effect event pretty much all week.
Yeah, so it looks like we're going to have our winter weather, at least winter-like weather, with some white stuff coming down after starting Sunday night. Pretty well rest of the year anyway.
Yeah,
and going to have good chance of some snowflakes. You're going to have some lake effect coming in, so that can always throw a huge curve of how much snow you get.
Yeah. Of course. I don't like looking ahead, because like an old and dear friend of mine tells me, a forecast 3 days out is worthless. but actually it's not, because the technology is so much better at predicting. So let's jump to New Year's Eve. You will want to bundle up. It's still going to be a good night to go downtown, but it's going to be cold and it may snow.
Yeah, we're in the 20s for highs. Mm-hmm. Most of those days are in the lower 20s. And it's nice, think about the good positive things, though. You don't have to worry about mosquitoes.
You always bring that up.
Well, having seen mosquitoes when it's like 47 degrees, it's nice when it's colder out, so you don't have to worry about those mosquitoes hovering or buzzing around. When it's nice out like that, you don't have too much wind. So long as you don't have too much wind,
right.
It's actually very tolerable. You put layers on. The downtown on New Year's Eve is actually a lot of fun. Haven't been quite a few years since I've done that, but we've done it in the past, and it's actually a nice event.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's always nice when we have nice conducive weather, that the weather isn't too bad. It seems like a lot of years New Year's Eve has some pretty inclement weather.
Yeah. Yeah.
Including ice sometimes.
Yeah.
So it was nice we missed most of the ice here the other day.
Yeah, we did. We did, as a matter of fact. I had no problems driving around, so, everything was fine. It was a little slushy up towards Lansing from what I hear, but outside of that, it wasn't really bad.
But we didn't get the ice there was a very good chance, and watching the radar, there was a lot of freezing precipitation coming down, freezing rain, and at least according to the radar. And it looked like, we might have some big ice buildup, but we really didn't get a whole lot of that. However, that storm system hit the Northeast, and they got dumped on with snow. And they're shoveling out and plowing out today. Mm-hmm. And WB, have that just cleaned up in time for this next system that's going to hit us Sunday night, Monday.
Yeah. Okay, there you go.
But it was been warm, and we did get some precipitation. We had that snow melt. No change in the drought monitor. So we've got pretty well what's typical for this time of year, so which means that we haven't had any change.
Okay, good. No harm, no foul. Okay.
So it hasn't gotten worse, which is good.
Yeah.
Still seeing, actually if you drive around or if you have a chance on some of the side roads, pull off to the side of the road and have your binoculars with you, and it's been warmer and it isn't raining. You can roll the windows down and listen. You wait a little bit, you're probably going to see some Canada geese and sandhill cranes flying around. You may see them land in a field near you because there's still a lot of them in the area. And you may see some other birds too. So that might be something fun to do if it isn't too rainy out and warm here, at least today and tomorrow.
Okay.
They have seen a few rare birds, so they did cite yellow-rumped warbler. I believe that was over in Cass County, or down in Cass County. White-winged scoter, they're still seeing those, primarily around Gull Lake, the nearest spot to Kalamazoo, and several confirmed sightings. The earlier in the week, I happened to look out one of our windows, and I think it was Tuesday morning, and I really looked because it was just getting light out. I'm like, boy, that sure looks like a deer head popping up over there from the ground. Sure enough, there was a deer laying down underneath some of my white pine trees.
Oh.
And you could just see its head and its ears sticking up. That was it. And at first I thought, oh, because they do bed down there sometimes at night. And I only saw the one, and I thought, oh, gosh, maybe it was injured or something. It wasn't injured because it moved away later on. It was gone in the day. So, and there might have been a smaller fawn that I thought I saw, but it was just dark enough. I couldn't see if there was a fawn that was popping its head up now and then, but most of the time I think it had its head down. So,
okay. Yeah.
Oh, it's sort of neat to see because it would pick its head up every once in a while, look around, and then but all you'd see would be its head and its ears sticking up. So,
okay.
And it blended in with some of the ground cover and branches of that.
I feel like we have an extra long show today.
Oh, I have lots of info.
It's like a holiday present from him to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he also has a gift card.
Yeah. So actually, I have a great holiday present for you because today is Make Cutout Snowflakes Day. So last week I mentioned we weren't going to have a white Christmas, have the kids make a bunch of, cutout snowflakes. Today is the official day.
Okay.
So, dark and dreary out, and the kids don't want to go anywhere, and you're looking for something for the kids to do. Have them make cutout snowflakes, and that's what triggered my trivia question today because I was reading some info on actual real snowflakes.
Okay, here's how trivia works. 269-382-4280 is our number. First correct caller to Gary's question will win a $20 gift card to Waddell's. And as I always try to plead to our audience, if you have won in the last 30 days, please let's let somebody else reap the rewards. If
maybe somebody else get a late Christmas present.
Yeah, that too. Okay.
Last Saturday of 2025. So I was reading about the make a cutout snowflakes, and they had some information and some little facts about snowflakes, real snowflakes.
Okay.
And I thought, there's a couple of neat trivia questions. So I actually have a lot of neat facts about snowflakes.
Okay.
So my trivia question today is, because I thought this was pretty interesting, what is the average speed of a falling snowflake? So typical speed of a falling snowflake.
This show has finally gone flaky. I was waiting for that moment, and we have finally reached it.
I think we've been that way a couple times.
Well, not full blown. 269-382-4280. Repeat your trivia question.
Yeah, so what is the average speed of a falling snowflake?
Okay, the average speed.
Yeah, so there's actually a range, and I'll accept the range, and I'll accept it in either feet per second or miles per hour.
Okay.
I have both figures here.
I don't think it's the same as the speed of an unladen swallow, but we'll just.
It is not. Much slower. I will tell you, it's much slower than the unladen swallow.
WKZ.
Whether it's European or African.
Hey, I got somebody on the phone, man. WKZ out. Hi, who's this? Hello, who is this?
Hi, this is Jim.
Hey, Jim. Nice name. Yeah. What do you have? The speed of a falling snowflake.
I'm guessing between 5 and 10 miles an hour.
Wait a minute. Okay, we're not taking a spread, are we?
Oh, I can do a spread.
Okay.
Actually, I'm going to give it to him because he's at the upper. Actually, no, you're actually not right in the range there. The feet per second might be, but not. He's just out of the range. I'm going to tell you, actually too fast.
Oh. Okay.
So they can occasionally go that fast, but the average typically speed's a lot slower than that.
Great name, Jim, but we need to look for another winner. Thank you, though. 269-382-4280. He may get to jump back in because, it's Saturday morning. It's the holidays.
It's dark out. People are sleeping in.
And there may be a hangover or two somewhere around. I'm not sure. Good morning, WKZO.
Hello.
Who is this?
This is Greg.
Greg, welcome. What is your guess?
I'm going to guess about 1.5 miles an hour.
Yeah, so actually the range is about 1 to 4 for typical. They can go faster than that, and as Jim had mentioned, they can get faster. So about 1 to 4 miles per hour, about 1 to 6 feet per second.
But not as fast as an unladen swallow. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's a lot slower. And compared to a falling raindrop, typically average speed of a falling raindrop is about 20 miles per hour. And so the snowflakes really depend on a lot of factors. One, how how much humidity is in the air, because that can add some friction when those snowflakes are coming down. What the size and shape of the snowflakes, because the snowflakes, and we'll talk about that, the different shapes, they will have that drag, and if they're bigger snowflakes and some of the plate type, that will slow them down considerably. Sometimes those snowflakes that take a longer time to come to the ground that are moving the slower speeds may take an hour or more to land down on the earth.
No.
So
Wow.
big variation on them. There's a lot of, but about 1 to 4 miles per hour is a typical speed.
Okay, well, there you go. Greg, right?
Yes.
Yeah, see, I remembered. I have enough coffee in me. Cool. All right, you are our big winner of a $20 gift card, but I do need to get some information from you and let you know how you can pick this up. Can you hold on?
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much.
Excellent, thank you.
Congratulations.
And we will be back with more Nature Watch in about 70 seconds on WKZO.
The Christmas season is a great time to let friends know how much you appreciate them. Your friends at Waddell's Nursery Florist and Garden Center are thankful for you and want to let their wonderful customers know how much they're appreciated. This week, their entire selection of Christmas items is 50% off. Check out the wild bird section at Waddell's. There are 16 different varieties of birdseed, and because of the large volume Waddell's buys, they offer the best prices around. Waddell's is the Kalamazoo area's bird feeding headquarters, with friendly people to help you select the products to attract the birds you like. Are you thinking about updating your landscape? Have you been dreaming of a winding path through your garden? A trickling fountain surrounded by hydrangeas? Just bring in your landscape ideas and Waddell's can draw professional landscape design. This is the time of year to make plans to bring your outdoor vision to life with help from Waddell's Nursery Florist and Garden Center on Texas Drive at the corner of Millam and 12th Street.
Kalamazoo's news and newsmakers, too.
Local news is like the most important stuff to me.
Kalamazoo Mornings with Ken Landfear
Your local community.
on WKZO.
Greg in Kalamazoo, our big winner of a $20 gift card as Nature Watch continues, and we're getting flaky with Gary this morning.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of neat facts about snowflakes. A couple of events coming up that I want to mention, though. Today is the Audubon Christmas bird count here in Kalamazoo. So if you're participating, listen to the radio and you're out doing that this morning, have fun. Should see a lot of birds moving around with the warmer temperatures today.
Yeah.
And with those warmer temperatures, now's a great time to clean your bird feeders. So before it gets cold again, save your fingers a little bit, get those bird feeders, get them emptied out, take them inside, clean them out real good, and get them dry and take them back outside. And that way the birds will have, you have them nice and clean when it gets cold, when they want to really feed on those feeders.
Kind of like this weekend where you might just want to get those Christmas lights down, even though we are still technically in the holiday season. But when you look ahead at the weather, you might want to do that. Maybe.
But it's nice seeing the lights with the snow out.
Well, that's true, but you want to beat the weather.
Or you leave them up there until spring and just don't turn them on.
Okay, that too.
You can do that.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
If you don't want to get your quick fingers
I
still.
am not being a cynic or anything. In fact, I am more festive this holiday season than I have been in past holiday seasons.
And if you have those different strings up, if you got really creative and did some white and red strings, you can at least just light those up for Valentine's Day. In about a month and a half.
No, okay.
Just saying.
And I my Charlie Brown tree is still going. Okay, just saying. I'm just saying. And yes, I have one.
So Kalamazoo Nature Center's got some neat events. Actually, today they've got Creative Corner, so they got a little craft activity from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. You do the regular fee to get in. There's no extra fee for it. It's just a drop-in program, and it's for families. They're going to have all sorts of craft activities and art supplies, and maybe something that, fun to do inside. On New Year's Day, the trails are open with free admission at the Nature Center. However, the visitor center is closed. So if you want to get out and about on the first day of the new year and do a little hiking around, and it might be a little snowy or cold, but see some neat birds in that.
Okay.
And then next Saturday on the 3rd at 2 p.m., they actually have an activity, Getting Glacial. Again, it's a drop-in program and for all ages, and they're going to talk about and probably hike around, so you want to be dressed for that, around the Kalamazoo Nature Center and looking at all the different glacial terrain features that the glaciers actually created. So some neat activities. Great opportunity now. Looking for something to do. Make sure you got those feeders filled, and especially with the snow coming in. I imagine tomorrow afternoon, evening, the birds will be frantically feeding to have that food so they can hunker down during the major part of the storm, and then they can come back out and eat after the storm. So make sure you got those feeders full. And great time to actually have some fun with the kids and maybe see how many different types of birds you can find.
Yeah.
So, we do a report at Project Feeder Watch at Cornell University at their Lab of Ornithology and participate with that, be a citizen scientist and have some fun with that. Gives the kids something to write about when they go back to school, what I did over Christmas break.
Oh, there you go.
Besides the usual, opening up Christmas presents, etc.
Okay. 269-382-4280. If you want to join us here on Nature Watch and ask Gary any question about nature that you want to, or if you're radio shy, you can always text us to 80373.
Would love to hear your voice, though.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And we need your voice so that I shut up. That's where we're going.
Jim's battling that frog yet, so yes.
I'm good.
So snowflakes, we'll talk about a lot of neat things about snowflakes. So snowflakes are not frozen raindrops. So snowflakes are an aggregation or cluster of hundreds of ice crystals that form from a cloud. Frozen raindrops are actually called sleet. Mm-hmm. They get bigger, they're called hail. Tiniest snowflakes are called diamond dust. The smallest snow crystals are no larger in size than the diameter of a human hair. I guess that sounds like it could have been a trivia question.
Yeah. You know what I notice about snow is when the big flakes come down, it doesn't really pile up, and when you get those small grainy flakes, that seems to be when everything just
yes. So
it's just it's not necessarily the condensation factor, right?
Right,
so to speak. Yeah.
So that diamond dust, because those snow crystals are so small and lightweight, they remain suspended in the air and appear like sparkling dust in the sunlight, which is where they get their name.
Okay.
It's most often seen in bitterly cold weather when air temperatures dip below 0 degrees Fahrenheit.
Mm-hmm.
Snowflake size and shape is determined by cloud temperature and humidity. And there's a range of what type of shape the snowflakes actually form into. And so about 32 to 25 degrees cloud temperature, typically the snowflake shape will be thin hexagonal plates and stars. When you get 21 to 14 degrees Fahrenheit, they're hollow columns. 14 to 10 degrees Fahrenheit, sector plates. 10 degrees to 3 degrees Fahrenheit, star-shaped dendrites. So that's where you get all those really unique shapes. And if you get down to negative 10 to negative 30, plates and columns, you get just a combination. That's degrees Fahrenheit, negative 10, negative 30.
I hope you all took notes.
There's lots of different shapes. So they actually they've classified there's about 35 different shapes of snowflakes, and there's combinations of all those major types.
Study up. I smell a trivia question next week.
Yeah, and I know I've talked about this before. I might have had this as a trivia question. I know I talked about it. Largest aggregate snowflake ever reported, according to Guinness World Records, fell in Fort Keogh, Montana in January of 1887 and allegedly measured 15 inches wide.
What?
8 inches thick. And that was a very, very big snowflake. You see that in a lot of records, but it's in the Guinness World Records. They had enough people substantiating it that they've included it.
It was a conspiracy theory. It was actually a snowball. No, I'm kidding.
So with snowflakes, with their lightweight and large surface area, that actually acts like a parachute with their falling. So that's how come they fall a lot slower than the raindrops. And they sometimes get an updraft, so that pushes them back up in the sky. And then they sometimes accumulate ice crystals on the outside. So that's another type of snowflake. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Snowflakes all have 6 sides or arms. They're always in that hexagonal shape, and it's because of the water molecules and the way the ice crystals form. And so mathematicians like studying them because there's all these different shapes of hexagons and variations. Although snow appears white, it's actually translucent. It's just a reflection of light, and we get a whole pile of those translucent flakes.
Yeah, I'm dreaming of a translucent Christmas is not a big hit.
Yeah, white sounds a lot better. And it looks white, so. So snowflakes covered in ice are called rime, R-I-M-E, snowflakes. And so the snowflakes form, they start falling through a cloud, and the cloud may have a lot of water vapor, and ice crystals form on the outside of the snowflake, and it becomes a rime snowflake. And so snow crystals and snowflakes can be rime-free, can have a few rime droplets, or be completely covered If rime snowflakes blob together, snow pellets known as grapple then forms. So some neat snow facts, and it has some other neat snow facts. It snowed as far south as San Diego and Miami, and we've talked about Hawaii gets snow because up on the top of the mountains like Mauna Loa, and they get some snow up there. You have a snowpack up there, Mauna Kea. It can snow at temperatures well above freezing, so it can be theoretically as warm as 46 degrees for snow to form in fall, and so it makes a big difference. For snow to occur at temperatures as high as 46, the humidity has to be very low because as snow falls, the flakes evaporate and cool. Snow is actually, by definition, classified as a mineral. Yeah. I don't think of snow as a mineral.
Well, when you're out and about and it's snowing, but you still feel dry.
So according to the National Snow and Ice Data Center, snow is a mineral because it is a naturally occurring solid, inorganically formed, and has a definite chemical composition, thus the definition of a mineral. In the lower 48, the state of Colorado holds the record for the most snow to fall in a 24-hour period. 75.8 inches in 24 hours.
Wow.
Think of that. Yeah. That's basically a little more than 3 inches per hour for 24 hours. That's a lot of snow. That's over 6 feet.
That's insane.
It's almost approaching 6.5 feet. 72 inches would be 6 feet.
No,
that was in 1921.
Oh my goodness!
And recently, Florida broke their record in 2025, January 21st. So just earlier this year, 10 inches of snowfall recorded in the Escambia County area.
I remember that. Yeah.
So that was their new record. The record in Michigan is 32 inches in a 24-hour period. And that's in the lower 48. So up in Alaska, 78 inches in a 24-hour period. So not much more than what Colorado got. Mm-hmm. And I always get those big snowfalls in the mountains especially. And I know just the snow, all the rain they've been getting out in California and then along the coast. Lots and lots of rain. They're getting floods, mudslides. Up in the mountains, they've had snow as much as 4 feet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so they are shoveling too. Not every windy snowstorm is a blizzard. So you can have wind and snow, but it may not be classified as a blizzard.
No, there are parameters to.
Yeah, so the National Weather Service,
and you don't have, and it doesn't have to include snow either,
or not much snow. You can have just a little trace of snow, as long as it's blowing around. So blizzard conditions are met when sustained winds of 35 miles an hour or greater last for 3 hours or more, and visibility is reduced by falling or blowing snow to less than a quarter mile for the same period of time. Mm-hmm. So all it takes is a little bit of snow that can blow around, and the wind picks up that speed, and you have technically a blizzard by definition.
Well, back in '78 when we had our snowstorm, then our blizzard, and 19 inches of snow fell. And you're thinking to yourself, well, okay, it's shy of 2 feet. It's not, it's a lot, but it's
when
not
it's blowing around, that's a lot of snow.
Not only when it's blowing around, but you have to remember what was already on the ground ahead of that.
Yes.
So, right.
And it was light enough that it blew and drifted everywhere.
Yeah.
It was true whiteout conditions for a lot of places for quite a while.
It's right. Snowfall can be deceiving. We only got 4 inches. Yeah, but we got 10 on the ground and it's blowing.
Well, it's interesting. We had here a couple of weeks ago, we had a little dusting of maybe an inch and a half of snow. And with it wasn't a great wind. It wasn't near blizzard conditions. We had some wind. That little bit of snow caused some little drifts, and they weren't real deep drifts along the roadways and edges of fields, but there were some drifts. So it doesn't take a whole lot of snow to actually start drifting.
No.
The snowflakes. So actually, you always say snowflakes can't be the same. You'll never see two snowflakes that are the same. But actually, in 1988, a scientist at the National Center for Atmospheric Research found two identical snow crystals, which is highly unusual. The average snowstorm, extreme snowstorm, large snowstorm, big snowfall, has somewhere around, it was 1 trillion snowflakes, and they're all different.
Trillion.
So trillion, 24, one with 24 zeros after it.
Oh my!
So there are lots of different snowflakes. That average snowstorm can drop about 39 million tons of weight of snow.
Wow.
Which you don't think of that because it's light and fluffy. I mean, when you're shoveling it, you
It's
understand
not always
that.
light and fluffy.
So it's always something to think about when you're shoveling.
Not
Like,
always
I'm
light and fluffy.
glad I'm not shoveling the 39 million tons. The largest snowball fight. I thought this was fun.
I knew this was coming.
The largest snowball fight occurred in Canada, and it was actually in Saskatoon, Canada, on January 31st, 2016. Had over 7,600 people participate in a snowball fight. Can you hear splat on your back?
I'll stay home.
It'd be a fun event, though. I remember in college having a big snowball fight at Michigan State when we had a perfect snowfall, and it was dark, and it was pretty well, a couple of blocks involved, but it was not near the 7,600 people involved.
Well, of
That's
course.
several hundred anyway.
Now, idiot me, if I got in that fight, I would not warm up at all, and I would blow my shoulder out with the first snowball. Trust me, that would happen.
When that snow's perfect like that, it's actually a lot of fun.
Okay, next week we may have a snowball fight out here because we're getting snow. I'm
Yes.
just saying.
So if you have a chance, get out and enjoy the outdoors. At least enjoy it from the inside and watch your bird feeders. And
Yeah,
we'll
clean them
see-
out.
we'll
Clean
talk to
them
you
out
next
today.
year. Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll talk next year. You have a great rest. I'll see you next year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now
I
get
think I'm
out.
gonna go.
Now-
I think I'm gonna go bowling today.
Oh, okay, cool.
There's eight bowl games on today.
Oh, you're just a funny guy. Thanks, Gary, and thank you for listening to this edition of Nature Watch. Tune in each Saturday morning at 8:30 for Nature Watch, brought to you by Waddell's Nursery, Floral Garden, and Bird Center at the corner of 12th Street and Millam Road, right here on 590 and 106.9 FM WKZO.